Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to Look Back, a series where I take a look at reviews that I did a year, 5 years, and 10 years ago, and I tell you what I think about them today, if I think about them at all. So a year ago, I took a look at a game called 10 Nights. Very, very short social deduction game where you're moving people around and killing people in a cabin. Everyone has to figure out who the killer is and which character they are. Meh, it's okay. It's quick. 6 out of 10. Cape May. I thought I would like this one a lot more, where you're running around in Cape May building buildings. It's a pretty game, has some neat components, some interesting ideas, but there was just a spark missing for me in it, so I only gave it a 6 out of 10. Iro or Ero. This is a very beautiful little abstract strategy game with porcelain pieces almost, or I feel like porcelain, with these different colored discs, and you can place them and you're trying to move along them by color. A neat idea, 7 out of 10. Living Forest. This game got a lot of buzz because it was the Kennerspiel winner of the year. A deck building game, fighting fires. There's a lot of stuff going on in this game. Maybe a little bit too much, actually. It keeps it, to me, from being great. Feels derivative of a lot of other games. But it's still fun and enjoyable, 7 out of 10. Three Sisters, a roll and write game about growing pumpkins and beans. A fairly complex roll and write game. In fact, I just played, the design duo that made this is making several games along this line, but I really enjoyed this one. There's so many options, 8 out of 10. And then Dominion Allies. Dominion has had a resurgence in the last year for me, really loving on this game, and Allies is a great expansion, 9 out of 10, just a lot of really cool features to it, and it's not even my favorite or in my top 2 favorite expansions. At some point, we'll do a rundown of all the expansions of Dominion. 5 years ago, I took a look at Feudum. Feudum is a huge game, gorgeous, with some neat ideas and a really cool kind of this guild system where they all affect each other. Love that system of the game. Unfortunately, there's just too many rules, some problems with the board. It's a 5 out of 10 for me. Interestingly enough, this game, a lot of people disliked it, but there are some people who love it, and I still see it played at conventions because it's like almost has a little cult following. The City of Kings, I gave this a 5 out of 10 too, which is interesting because the City of Kings company now has made Isle of Cats, which everyone loves, but their first game, The City of Kings, it's a big kind of fantasy sprawling game, but I gave it a 5 out of 10 because it was too abstract and too puzzly for me. It just didn't work. Ray Guns and Rocket Ships, I gave this a 6 to. Kind of an old 60s theming of stuff, and almost has that kind of feel of a game. It's not a product of its time because it came out 5 years ago, but it looks like that. Ion, a compound building game, 7 out of 10. This is a drafting game from Genius Games. They just remade it. We have not taken a look at the remake yet, but it's just basically cosmetic. I also took a look at Pit Formula, another 7 out of 10. This is a game from Brazil. 2 Pit games came out at the same time. One from Jeff Engelstein, this one from Brazil. But this one worked pretty well. Kind of a speed game, but I didn't find it to be overly too much based on speed. Let Her Go. Yes, that's the title of it. 7.5 here. Now, a party game in a word game, but really silliness involved in it. But this was silliness I could get behind. Way of the Panda. This is an 8 out of 10. You probably haven't heard of this game. And when you look at it, you're like, what is going on here? There's beautifully miniatures of pandas and little pandas you put all aboard. It looks cute, but it's actually a very in-your-face area control style game. It's really well done. Drop It. I gave this an 8.5. My word, what a great game. Dropping in geometric shapes, trying to score points and how you drop them in. This game has such success. Every time I teach this to people, they just play it over and over again. It's a really quick game. Cool game. And Shards of Infinity. I dropped it just a bit, but I still really like this game, which feels a lot like Space Realms, but it adds some neat ideas to it, especially being able to buy a card and use it immediately from the middle. Just really enjoy, and also an upgrade leveling up system. That's a lot of fun. So it's an 8.5 now. 10 years ago, I took a look at Hot Rod Creeps. This has a very distinct style of artwork, like that goofy, not Mad Magazine, but that style of artwork. Silly little racing game from Cryptozoic, 6 out of 10. Streams. This is a bingo, roll and write game from Blue Orange Games, in which trying to make, it's really, really simple. Someone's calling out a number and you're trying to write and make streams of numbers. A 6 out of 10. Alia Aecta Est. This is a dice rolling and placement game. It's since been made by Grey Fox into a game called Order of the Gilded Compass. But I like this original game. There are other games that surpassed it, and I would rather play them more, like Dice Manor actually, but this is still a 7 out of 10. Yido, 8 out of 10. Yido feels like the gamer's version of Lords of Waterdeep, which it really is. I mean, that way you're collecting stuff and weapons and things and sending out people on missions. It's really well done. Maybe a tad overwrought in spots, but I still really enjoyed it. This 8 out of 10 does not include a few years ago they came out with a really nice deluxe version, which I have in the Dice Tower library, but I've not played that version. It might be better, it might be worse, I don't know. And then Le Havre, the Inland Port. This is a 2-player game of Le Havre, and it's sort of if someone said, hey, can we make a spreadsheet fun? Has nothing to do with Le Havre other than theme. It's a 2-player game with a really interesting scoring track. There's a lot of stuff going on. I really like it. I dropped it just a bit to an 8 because I just don't play it very much. While in the last 10 years, I played Le Havre a lot. So that game stands stronger, but still an interesting 2-player variant, which really has nothing to do with the base game. So those are the reviews that I did 1, 5, and 10 years ago. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vasel, and this has been Look Back on the Dice Tower.